This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Thanks for joining us this midday on your Thursday. Meteorologist Todd Clausen joining me right now. Todd, we've got to talk about this weather because it is good, and unfortunately, it is not going to last for very long.
Yeah, you know, it's the middle of summer here now, Meredith, across central Indiana. We're used to the heat, humidity, so these are bonus days. Need to take advantage of them because, as you mentioned, you're right, things will be changing going forward in this forecast. But look at this sky, very similar to yesterday. We have the bright blue because of the lack of humidity out there and just starting to build in a few fair weather clouds. And today is going to be very similar to yesterday in the sense that it'll be partly cloudy, lower humidity. There'll be the chance of a stray shower as we get into the evening hours. But the one difference is today running a little bit warmer. The temperatures you see right here are near 80 degrees in many locations. Those were our highs for the day yesterday. Today will continue to warm a couple more degrees for your afternoon highs, getting up into the low to mid 80s for most. But the clouds, they'll start to build just a little bit here this afternoon. Not showing much on the satellite radar picture, but just like yesterday, there were a couple isolated showers or downpours. They're likely to flare up this afternoon. The best chance today will be across southern locations compared to the north yesterday. But all in all, it's a great afternoon. 99% of us will not even see that shower chance. It's just a very small chance with those temperatures, again, anywhere between about 82 to 86 degrees. Tomorrow, the heat builds in, then the humidity for the weekend. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you. New this midday, even as businesses continue to open back up across Indiana, more people are finding themselves out of work. The number of Hoosiers filing for unemployment is on the rise once again. The newest numbers just out from the Department of Labor show that almost 32,000 people in Indiana filed first-time claims for unemployment for the most recent week ending June 20th. That's an increase of more than 7,000 from the previous week. It's also more than 8 times the number of unemployment claims that were typically filed in a week before the COVID-19 pandemic. The jobs crisis also being felt across the country. Nationally, almost 1.5 million Americans filed first-time unemployment claims last week. The federal government also announced that the economy in the first quarter shrank by 5%. The second quarter number is expected to be worse since it will cover the months hardest hit by the pandemic. Though many businesses are trying to reopen, others continue to lay off workers. Today, Macy's announced it was letting nearly 4,000 employees go as retail businesses continue to struggle. The jobs being cut are mainly management and back office positions. Macy's did announce that it plans to bring back most of the employees that had been furloughed from the stores by the first week of July. New this midday, a new federal report criticizes the Trump administration's handling of part of the massive economic stimulus bill that was passed back in March. The Government Accountability Office says the government sent out $1.4 billion in stimulus payments to dead people. Call 6 Investigates brought you the story of one person who got one of those checks. Jay Tilden of Beech Grove got a $1,200 paper check in the mail for his mother, Lillian. Lillian died more than 2 years ago. He and many others were forced to void the checks and mail them back to the IRS. More cancellations tied to the ongoing pandemic. The NFL has canceled its annual Hall of Fame game. The report says the league is also postponing this year's Hall of Fame induction ceremony that was scheduled for August 8th. The Hall of Fame class of 2020 includes former Colts running back Edgerrin James. They will now be inducted sometime in 2021. The economy remains slow because COVID-19 is not letting up. Here are the latest numbers in Indiana from the state health department. The number of new deaths in Indiana remains low, with 9 more reported today. But the state is reporting more cases of COVID-19 with 523. The state says that could be because more than 12,000 new tests were reported, which is more than twice the number reported yesterday. A dire new forecast from the Centers for Disease Control says the U.S. could see up to 150,000 reported COVID-19 deaths by the middle of July. More than half the nation is seeing an increase in cases as some hospitals reach capacity. ABC's Rena Roy has more.
Today, the coronavirus crisis moving at a dangerously fast pace. At least 27 states seeing a rise in cases, hospitalizations surging in 21. In Arizona, 85% of ICU beds are full. Mississippi reporting limited to no ICU capacity, according to an internal FEMA memo obtained by ABC News. Texas with a record day of new cases.
So it's going to be a busy day today. We've got some patients waiting to come into the ICU.
In North Texas, 18 members of the Barbosa family testing positive after 25 people attended a birthday party.
My dad's hanging on by a thread. My dad is dying, and my mom is struggling.
Florida also setting its own records with more than 5,500 cases in 24 hours. Long lines stretching for miles at drive-up testing sites in recent days. 17-year-old Carson Davis of Fort Myers was admitted to the ICU on Sunday, her birthday. She didn't make it. California with its own surge. Los Angeles County now leads the country with 88,000 people infected.
We are seeing an increase in the total number of cases with people that are getting younger and younger.
The governors of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut are requiring those visiting the tri-state area from COVID-19 hotspots to quarantine for 14 days, as the once hard-hit region makes progress in reopening.
The virus often travels by airplane and arrives, and then it spreads. So we thought one of the best things we could do was to see if we can prevent that from happening in our region.
Doctors say they believe this new uptick is likely a result of people letting their guards down. In Florida, there is still no statewide face covering mandate. And in Arizona, protesters in Scottsdale have rallied against wearing them despite guidance from health officials. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The demand for answers in a pair of deaths linked to police continues, but this time not without marches through the street. Protesters went to the downtown canal last night, writing their messages on the sidewalks. The demonstration was led by members of Indy 10 Black Lives Matter. They continue to call for the firing of the officers involved in the shooting death of Drejon Reed, as well as more transparency from investigators. Reed was killed following a police chase and what police say was an exchange of gunfire with officers. The group says it will continue to conduct similar protests every week until their demands are met. The ongoing protests demanding racial justice are sparking conversations about race. It can be a difficult discussion to start, especially with your children. The Alliance for Diversity in Hendricks County has started hosting workshops to help parents have those tough conversations. Natalie Brake is part of the Alliance, and she says her son, who is on the autism spectrum, helped her learn to talk about racism. She says it's never too early to start the conversation.
Even well-intended people can say things or do things that are racist in our society, and we need to own up to it. So you can't expect your kids to have those conversations with you if you're not willing to have the conversation with them.
The Alliance's next workshop is scheduled for July 14th. Less than half an hour from now, Indianapolis Public Schools is hosting a virtual event called A Conversation About Race in the Classroom. You can sign up for that event at myips.org. She says a school district has ignored her son's needs and says they've been doing it for years. Next, Call 6 Investigates tries to get answers on whether a school district is fulfilling its mission for every student. Todd.
And Meredith, it's a perfect day to be outdoors today across central Indiana, including the pool. Temperatures climbing into the 80s. The humidity today is low. The UV index is high, but changes are on the way. It's going to turn hot and more humid with storm chances. More on that coming up when the News at Noon continues right here on RTV6.
All new Don'ts tonight on ABC.
A Hendricks County mother has filed a formal complaint with the Indiana Department of Education. She says the Northwest Hendricks School Corporation failed to address her son's special needs. Tiffany Matthews says the district also retaliated against her son because she spoke up at board meetings and on social media. Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny has been digging through the complaint and explains what parents are entitled to under the law.
Tiffany Matthews' son Alex is a 15-year-old student at Tri-West High School. He's been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. Tiffany says her son has struggled in school because of his disability since the 5th grade. Tiffany says she tried to get her son extra help and to have the district evaluate Alex, but she says it fell on deaf ears. Tiffany's formal complaint filed this month against the district alleges they dismissed her and chalked up his dismal performance to a lack of motivation.
A very bright kid when it comes to things, and he knows quite a bit. He just does not learn the same way that they're trying to teach everybody. I wonder how many other kids they've done it to. But I want Alex to be able to get the education that he deserves. And it's not fair to him.
We're hoping, of course, to get him evaluated. We're hoping to get him qualified for the help that he should have been getting for the past few years. And as far as other students, we're hoping maybe it does help some other kids. Maybe, part of the remedies we're asking for, or one of the remedies, is some training.
Tiffany's attorney, Tom Blessing, says schools have to follow a federal mandate to identify and evaluate children with disabilities. Blessing wants parents to know they have the right to have their child evaluated by a school psychologist at no cost. We reached out to the Northwest Hendricks School Corporation for their response to Tiffany's complaint. A district spokeswoman told us the corporation does not comment on pending litigation and is legally obligated to maintain the privacy of students. Kara Kenny, RTV6.
Kara, thank you. Tiffany Matthews and her attorney have requested a hearing with the Indiana Department of Education. No hearing date has yet been set. Matthews was also critical of how the school district handled the allegations involving teacher and coach Tyler Bruce. Now, you may recall Tyler Bruce was fired from the district after he was charged with child seduction and obstruction of justice. He's requested his trial be moved out of Hendricks County. A hearing is scheduled for July 7th and his trial is set for July 29th. Bruce denies the allegations. He believes that everyone deserves a second chance in life. Next, how this deputy is working to help keep people from returning to a life of crime after they get out of jail. And it is a gorgeous Thursday afternoon out there. Meteorologist Todd Clausen is going to let you know what the next few days hold. However, your Storm Team 6 forecast coming up after the break. You're watching the news at noon on RTV6.
And you on your spiritual adventure.
A Delaware County Sheriff's deputy has made it his mission to end generational crime in his area by helping convicted felons get jobs after they pay their debt to society. Our Kelsey Anderson traveled to Muncie to find out more.
We're here at Midwest Metals, one of the companies that's partnered with Second Chance Dads. And so far in the last 4 years, they have hired 14 convicted felons, hoping of giving them a second chance. Kenny West started the program Second Chance Dads about 4 years ago when he realized generational crime was a problem in his neighborhood. He says young children were getting in a lot of trouble, and his question was, where are their fathers? His program, Second Chance Dads, is his hope to change the pattern from generational crime to generational career. He's partnering with several local companies like Midwest Metal to help convicted felons get jobs after paying their debt to society.
And I felt like, when a man feels like a man, he can provide for his family, that he would just take hold to that and be able to do things with his children.
West says in the last 4 years, they have helped more than 14 convicted felons find jobs. And the success rate of this program has been 100%. Their hope now is that more companies will get involved and give these men a second chance. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Thank you. We want to turn now to meteorologist Todd Clausen. Todd, you are delivering some good news for our Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, beautiful day in store for us here this afternoon with low humidity, comfortable temperatures, and just some very, very small rain chances. We actually do need some rain across the area. We're running dry. The drought monitor comes out every Thursday, and you can see across much of the state of Indiana, we are covered in yellow. This is an increase in coverage from last Thursday. I know we've had some rain here and there over the past week or so, but we continue to run well below normal. Well, going forward in this forecast, we will start to bring better rain chances in across central Indiana as we get into the coming days. But until that rain arrives, soak up the sunshine today with the low humidity. Just a few fair weather clouds out there. As you can see right now from downtown to the north, the humidity remains low today. It starts to creep up, though, tomorrow and then into the coming days. And I'll show you that in just a second. 79 right now in Indy, 81 in Bloomington, 80 in Greencastle, 82 in Terre Haute, upper 70s to the north. Highs today for everybody will be anywhere from about 81 to 85 degrees. Everybody will be within just a couple degrees of each other, so get out there and enjoy. But here is that muggy meter, and don't pay so much to the up and down of the line. Just kind of pay more attention to the trajectory and the categories that we get into. And you notice by time we get to Sunday and Monday, we are going to be in this very humid category. So it's going to become rather uncomfortable with temperatures in the 80s as we work our way into the weekend. Satellite radar picture doesn't show a whole lot now, but those clouds are starting to build just a little bit, and most of the storm action is still well off to our west. But I do think we'll be able to manufacture maybe a spot shower that would be very brief in a few isolated locations, as you see here on TrueCast. We did the same thing yesterday. Most of us enjoyed a beautiful day, a beautiful sunset, but to the north you had some showers and storms. So this evening, most of us avoid the rain, but there will be the isolated rain chance in the forecast. Temperatures falling back down into the 70s. Tomorrow we start to bring the humidity up. The temperatures come up as well. Tomorrow's a hot day for us, close to 90 degrees across the area. And here is the storm chance for Friday. Again, it's very spotty throughout the day tomorrow. Better storm chances will arrive Friday night into Saturday morning as a front kind of settles across the area. And then once this front is in place across the area, Saturday the showers and storms unfortunately could be fairly numerous, but it's all going to depend on where that front sets up, who sees the most storm action. The day is definitely not a complete washout, but then isolated storm chances do remain in the forecast throughout much of next week as temperatures, Meredith, remain above normal in the mid to upper 80s.
All right, Todd, thank you. These days, business is starting to get back to normal at the City County building. If you've been there, you know the building is a maze of hallways and elevators. A visit to the directory is almost a must if you're visiting for the first time. But back in the 1980s, if you needed help finding a place at the CCB, you went to the information desk to see Minerva and Cora. They typically answered 250 inquiries every single day back then. Former RTV6 reporter Derek Thomas talked to the women in 1985, just as Cora was getting ready to retire.
The double-barreled data dais has been dispensing directions for what seems like forever. They receive an average of 250 inquiries a day from the 1,000 visitors that pass through the skyscraping governmental maze. Add that grand with the 2,800 people who work at the site, and the team has talked to and seen things you wouldn't believe.
We heard a commotion, and it was out toward Delaware Street entrance, so we looked up, and here came the streaker. He was laughing real hard, but he just ran by.
Were you shocked?
Oh, were we? Yes. Of course, I think Cora covered one eye, and she didn't see, though.
Then Mayor Bill Hudnut honored Cora's 20 years of service with a proclamation declaring August 30th, 1985, Cora Virginia Herring Day. And here is a live look over the Circle City on your Thursday afternoon. Still ahead, a little more news and one more check of your forecast. You're watching RTV6.
Even Petey can do it.
Well, in case you missed Good Morning Indiana this morning, I am having my last day here at RTV6. After 3 wonderful years, I've decided to pursue some new opportunities, and I will miss my colleagues immensely. I will also miss you, the viewers, who have proven Hoosier hospitality is real. And one of those colleagues that I'm going to miss an awful lot, especially someone who puts up with my teasing quite well, that is meteorologist Todd Clausen. And Todd, you're going to take one final check of the weather for us right now.
Yeah, you giveth, Meredith, but you take my teasing right back as well. And I am going to miss you tremendously, but I know you're not going to be far away, and I know how to keep in touch with you. So it's not goodbye, it's just see you later. All right, and it's been a pleasure working with you as well. 84 today, mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow up to near 90. Humidity comes up just a little bit, with just about 20% chance of an isolated storm. Better storm chances in the forecast Saturday and Sunday, but the weekend will not be a washout with temperatures in the mid-80s. Now we keep it warm into next week with temperatures in the mid-80s and the chance of some isolated storms. And for the last time, Meredith, back to you.
Thank you, Todd, and thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope to see you back here at 5. In the meantime, have a wonderful afternoon, and please do keep in touch.